Thank you for enjoying your sweetest moments, merging timelines. I'm your host, Melly Mells, an angelic melody, Melanie, the airy fairy mystic. It's been a long time, family. Maybe about 4 months since I've been on my channel. I do get on my other channel, Emerging Timelines. That one was intended to be my harp channel. My twin flame and I created another channel. We haven't uploaded on as we're in 2 separate locations at this time. Those backstories of why I haven't been online and why why we're not able to upload on that channel will be discussed at a later date. The reason being is I would like us both to be able to share our own point of view, perspective from our own senses of delivering what we have received from our journey. I'm going to try to do a channel message try. I am going to do one. And every time I think, wow, what a silly message, Mel, it's never silly. It's underestimated quite substantially. But I do see it playing out months after the fact. I do see it reflected amongst the masses in other oracle channeled readers, those who are open to the ethers. And I look at the ethers like an echo. The ethers are like one tiny voice that may have not been heard but by 100 people, and then it is then echoed through the masses. So this isn't through a viewer or a following, if you will. This is from the heart space. And a year ago, I believe, we were talking about the heart chakra and how it was being balanced amongst its individual head and its individual heart, and that was the healing process of the heart chakra amongst our human collective, our human awareness, right? Human awareness being a bigger way of describing what is being affected. It is us coming into our self-forgiveness and acceptance to become aware of where we are today. So that point of view is coming from the I am, which you do know is based off of what you've desired to create. That's your sacral energy, what you desired to have, you were gaining. And then you realized in order to keep it, you would balance it on your own intention. So if you were intentful, you were more likely able to accumulate rather than to go through loss. I have suffered a great deal of losses off of not being as intentful to start. And so if you were someone who wasn't as intentional as you'd like to have been in the past, forgiveness is okay. You know, forgive yourself. It's okay. Because when you walk in a dark space, you do the best that you can. And that's what it's like coming into this planet through the portal and discovering yourself, is finding that being through its fall. But when you come into your acceptance and you finally forgive yourself by realizing that it had to happen for you to become aware, that's when you finally become to build, not just as a Mason, right? Masons build individual desire, but as someone who wants to build in harmony, that person builds for more in mind than just themselves. Okay? So we're in the 9 ether reading, and that's my intention. I did not know how I was going to get this 9 ether being to come full circle, but here we are. And that brings me to the symbolism of this channeled message. The 9 is the circle. You may call it the circle of life. We were going through triangles and how we had 1 triangle to begin with for the 3 God, 2 triangles. Okay, so slow down, Mel. 1 triangle, the first triangle was discussed, and if you can go back to that 3 God video, that will give you the 3 angles. And then if you go to the sixth god that I did, that would give you the 2 triangles. That gave us the time symbol, right? The hourglass. And then now we're in the 3 triangles. Oh my God, it's going quicker than I can communicate. I'm so sorry. But the 3 triangles come together to make the pi, the mathematical equation to all that you see playing out today. I hope that you get that image, because I didn't do it. I did not write down any notes this time. I'm not even showing myself because I'm going through my own metamorphosis. I've posted a lot of snakes and people get creeped out because my animal spirit is a snake. It is what it is. I love cobras. I love Egyptian symbolism. So it's just my being and how my being puts pictures to create perspectives. Yeah. So I was seeing a lot of snakes, and that long and short, I'm not going to go over my current circumstance because I can't, through legal terms. I can't tell you everything I'm going through right now, and I'm not into victim mentality. So I am doing well. I'm better than I was before everything happened, and it can only go up from here. So at a later date, I'll discuss what I have currently been going through. I think I'm in 2 months. I could be in 4 months, depending on how my timeline's playing out. The 4th month is because I stopped recording 4 months ago, and 2 months because 2 months from what happened, the incident that I'll be expressing at a later date. I do expect it to take 9 months, so depending on whether we're starting at 2 or 4, I will return again and let you know how my life has changed. And I did introduce that in the what message is it? I will put the links to the messages I'm describing right here, but it's another one that was about home and how home was the mind. I was outside in the yard like I am today, and we were talking about that, how your first home is your mind, and some of us will be receiving it through our own work. Some of us will be given it. Some of us will be getting it from the Most High. Of course, I believe all of my gifts come from the Most High, because I've recognized it to be my mother and father through its ability to remain harmonic, having a respect to each other, having open communication with another, and always forgiving through a sense of compassion, to accept all that needed to become aware. Said a lot there, continue to say a lot, but I think I'm going to get into it now. We're going to use our Dream Escape Oracle. So that's the Dream Escape Oracle. Here is the booklet. Dream Escape Oracle. I'm going to get one card from this, and that will be our overall energy. If I haven't said it already, I hope that all of you have been doing well, and most importantly, just enjoying your individual journey, because it is all a unique energetic signature that is all necessary for the bigger picture. Everyone's bringing their puzzle to the picture. If you can imagine, whatever's happening for you is your individual piece of the puzzle that is going to become the new world that we see today. We're all doing this collectively. It's not just the chosen, but those who are currently still choosing, and those who have become aware of the choices they've made. We're all doing it together. You know, whether we're behind the scenes at this time, currently on the scene, or leaving the scene, it's all been a mass production, divinely orchestrated, and it's quite beautiful when you think about it from a sense of surrender. This experience I've been through has been the most surrendering experience I will possibly ever gain in life. I couldn't imagine anything that could make me surrender more. I'm grateful because I am open. I look forward to the visions I create. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, family. It was not at all what I thought life was going to be. But I think that's what makes it the best. It adds so much feeling. Most High, please give us a channeled message to explain the 9 ether being. The 9 ether being. We went over the symbolism being the circle of life, the circle, the 3 triangles put together to make pi, a mathematical equation, because we know the universe speaks to us in numbers, and the number 9 is the number of completion. All praises belong to the Most High and your most higher self that plays a part of this. Beautiful flower. Oh my God, it was such a beautiful butterfly. I know we caught that on camera. I just know we did. I'm so excited to watch this on the playback now. Like, thank you so much for starring in our video. What a beautiful feeling that was to just come so close. I tell my dad all the time, one day it's just gonna land on me. He thinks I'm crazy. I've been called weird my entire life, so for people to think, oh, you're crazy, it's becoming very nice now. Alright, I'm still shuffling, so if you're wondering, it's brewing. There are things that are brewing behind the scenes. So coming up with the biggest, most important, most relevant point of view at this time can be a little hard when it all comes down to the nitty-gritty. It gets really real, family. And when it's real, all hands are on deck. We got memory and we got silk. Okay, let's talk about that. My overall energy, the elephant. Let's read the elephant. It is the cover of the book. So let's read the elephant first. All right, here we are. An elephant never forgets, or so the saying goes. However, these giant, gentle beasts are much more than that. They are highly social animals that form family bonds for life. They are extremely loyal and stick together. If the elephant card has graced your home today, consider yourself fortunate and lucky indeed. Take time to think about what strengths you have and who is your social circle. Reach out to those who you have not connected with or tackle a new creative hobby. Take time to engage with others. Look toward others who can be loyal to you. That's so funny because we talked about our symbol and it is about your social circle. So the 9 ether being is very, their heart is invested in the bigger picture, their social circle, how to put it back together, how to keep it tight and loyal, reassuring it. It says that you are lucky and very fortunate. I want to go through this silk first because this lady is naked, so she's more vulnerable. And then we'll go into the memory because memory goes really nicely with that elephant message that we had. Never forgets, right? So let me put this, that's the past, right? The elephant energy, it's an overall energy, but we're going to put that as past. It's known. It never forgets, meaning it's known, okay? So we're going to place this silky, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but I could not be. I got this card so much when I was, when I first bought the deck, and it was not my favorite one to get, I'll be honest. The Scottish mythology, Silkies are shaped, shifting creatures Who can change from seals to humans by shedding their skin? Myths say that if a man finds a female Silkie's discarded skin, they can marry the Silkie while she is in her human body. The man hides the skin, trapping her against her true nature, never allowing her to return to the sea and her kin. The only way for a Silkie to receive her freedom is to find and take back her skin. Male Silkies are unusually handsome and lure women to them. They are also where we get the myth of the merfolk. So the meaning is feeling like your freedom is compromised. There is a loss of self-control. So we've been dismantling the programs as a human collective through our human awareness, and that hue comes from our senses of being transparent, forgiving ourselves and accepting ourselves, because we can become trapped in this ideology of wanting to be perfect in order to be saved. But if you choose to save yourself, then you accept that you weren't perfect, but you were still worthy. I feel like that's what these persons, or should I just say the personas, because we've all been many stages of this program. I feel like this is us becoming aware of when we weren't free and how we compromised ourselves by settling for a sense of loss and control that we thought we needed to feel safe, to feel worthy. Now we know that's just a mirrored reflection of the lack of acceptance we had. We're aware of that. Are you aware of that? Let's read our memory. These are big, big energies that I'm reading so outright. And sometimes I feel like that could be the trouble here, is that I bring such big shifts and it does take a while to digest. Meaning just apply it to the angles of our individual experience. But we'll see how it plays out. Memory. Memory is a delicate thing. It weighs as much as a feather and is just as fragile. Wave the feather one way, and the glimmer of the moment is captured, appears as accurately as if it just happened. Dance the feather in a different direction, and the memory fades or changes, the details growing dim and dull. Flames rise from a golden bowl. They burn, distorting anything they touch. The heat wrapping the surface. Warping the surface. Moments affected by the flame bend and buckle, turning into something less than they were. Details fade, the mind fearful of holding onto what was once true. Hold onto the truth by placing it into service to the future. Be mindful of the memories you desire to keep. Let your memories drive your imagination to new heights. So, there's been some memories that you have here when you forgive yourself and accept everything that was, that you're going to continue to hold tight to, because you've only been able to treasure them more as you've accepted yourself. You're like, man, I really liked that person, or man, I really liked that job, or man, I really liked that experience. You know, those are how you know what's for you and what's not for you, through going through what wasn't for you, what didn't feel right. You could only really become aware through those two angles. And so let your memories drive your imagination to the new height. We're ascending here and we're merging our timelines only to become more whole. And when we're whole, we're creating a higher experience through these two angles. We're at the point, the middle point, right? Which we thought was going to be, standing above one another, when really it's going to be right here on the same playing field in our own position of the orchestration, playing our own tune, a tune that we have mastered to become more confident in its expression, more fluid, more open, more surrendering. All right, let's go through this. Tarot. I really enjoy reading tarot. Like, I just enjoy it. It doesn't matter to me who's listening. It doesn't matter to me. I just like it. I started reading tarot, for those who don't know, in 2017 when I had my son. It was just my own light that came through, and I realized, I like this. I didn't know about YouTube, didn't know about any other readers, didn't know anyone else read. However, I went to readers. I didn't know that I was one myself, and sometimes it'll be like that. You're drawn to the things that you are. So I appreciate these senses of awareness that allowed me to be more of myself through other people's confidence in themselves. Messages aren't meant to be perfect, they're meant to be raw, so that people can understand. That you're still discovering yourself. There's an owl. I have yet to see him, but he's here. Can you hear him? He sounds so beautiful. Alright, so we're not going to get a lot of cards. We're just going to do our typical 6-card spread, merging our timelines, past, present, future, all simultaneously existing as we are here and now. Our first card is always our environment, what's going on around us, what's most important to know, take note. What's going on around you, that's most important. As we are discussing 9 ether beings, these beings who recognize the bigger picture, that we are all here, whether we are leaving the stage, entering the stage, and holding up the stage. We're performing. All praise the Most High. What's in our environment, please, Most High? What's our environment? I love that I can speak a little bit before the messages come out. I think they give me a time to become calm, because all of these feelings expressed in cards I feel like, you know how you used to rewind, or you rewind, or even fast forward on the TV screen. There's so many expressions that go through you that it's really hard to convey each individual note. We talked about that in this reading too, so that's a big message. Personas. I did say we were going to discuss personas at one point. Sometimes I'll say I'll do something and I don't know when it's going to happen, but I always had the intention to say, yeah, we're going to compile the personas of being a human. so that our expressions can be more intentful and calm. And that's how we get to this space of being telepathical. We're at peace and our expressions are slow, but they cannot be misinterpreted because they are the first language of our universe. That's why when you're in tune, even though a person's not talking, you'll know how they feel. What a beautiful message that was. Okay? Still trying to get what's going on in our environment. It's a lot, I think. I think it's just shifting through so many scenes as I'm even trying to get to one point. We're like spinning the wheel here. Again, talking about the circle. We are playing with a pie here. Spin the wheel. What piece of the pie do we want to discuss? There's 3/4 of this. I was also going through my human design. I'm a 6'2". So 6'2" projector. Every time I go through those those different types of, what do you want to call them, programs in order to become more aware of your individual self, I always look at mine, which is the I look at the us, which is me and my partner, my twin flame, and then the we, which is my sun. I always look at those 3 angles to see a bigger picture, I, us, and we. And I used to discuss I, us, and we too. That was the 3 God video. If you have time to watch those in order, now would be the best time. It would be the one where I was talking about a home, then go to the 3 God, then go to the 6 God, and now come to this 9 ether being reading, and you will, the 9 God, gods and goddesses amongst our land, which we are all an expression of God. Here we are. That's it. They just wanted us to discuss that first in that order. They're offering love to you. It's you in the cup. You and your little self. Now you could be discovering this through, like I said, through someone that you love outside of yourself. Sometimes you need that person to be more accountable of the way you love yourself. So that person could be a child. This pages always represent children. They could be a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. You could be one of these 3 signs, or it could just represent the element of water, learning how to be childlike and look at love through an innocent phase, or the most innocent phases of your life, where it wasn't corrupted by you feeling at a loss of control of your reality. So much water in the background. This is like a child being at the beach. Maybe some of your fond full-time memories are at the beach. And you've caught this little fish in your little sandcastle, and you didn't expect it to die if you left it in the little water that you had accumulated in your own little reenactment of the beach. You know how you're a child, right? We're discussing being a child. We have this celebration here and things that we've pondered. So we're discussing some sense of, oh, I've been happy before, I've been overjoyed, I've celebrated being a child, and having a child even, or my inner child coming back to life. Those 3 angles here. We are now looking at this cup and saying, wow, I've even tried to take my piece of the pie and create it over here, and it wasn't as abundant as what the Most High had already created. So even though I was able to copy, mimic, and recreate it, If I never brought it back to the bigger piece of the puzzle, it wasn't going to be as abundant, fruitful, or well received. So this is saying bringing it back full circle was always the intent of the human experience. 4 cups. So you're still contemplating, pondering, what is your way of bringing this back home? How do I bring back my experience home full circle? It's okay, because it's like the left brain and the right brain communicating. It's the mother and father communicating. It's easier when your relationships around you are in harmony. They could be working out their senses of harmony. And this is why, one of the reasons why I fight so hard to be in open, fluid communication with my past partner. We have a son, and I know his world is dependent on the external reality, the harmonization of that external reality, no matter what it looks like. You know, it must be able to respect one another in a way it had respected each other up until it's becoming. So much in that message there. Let's go on to the heart space. That was the environment. So that's what's going on around you. This is going to be a longer reading than I expected, because I just came back and I'm like, what the heck do you have to say? A whole lot. You know more than you give yourself credit to, maybe because people want to put you as incredible. And they don't mean this in a... It's so funny. I was watching Dr. Ray sermon ministry. I don't even always say he's a minister. I don't do church. So, but I do watch some, I guess, pastors. I'm not comfortable with the word, but I watch people of spiritual leadership, people who want to dissect what is written and what is expected for people to apply to become word and action in its highest form. And you know a lot about this. You know, you've went through your own black and white, and that's how you have become aware. It wasn't really necessarily things that you've read or other people you've watched, but the things that you've, again, forgiven yourself and accepted to become aware of. The 3 angles. You're a 9-dimensional being. You're a 9 ether being, 32, as I said that. You are. So it is, you know. That's your heart. You can't help what you know. You can't help what you see. And you can't help that it's not received. Because it's not for you to spoon feed or force. It's just for you to be. That's one of the highest expressions of a 9 ether being, is that they are so comfortable being that they don't care to make anyone else do anything. Just allow them to be. That's all they want. I said that I was a 6'2", and that I was like, what's the point of saying that, Mel? Like, what's the point? But that is the point of saying it, is it's the role model hermit person, a person who just operates in a high expression because they can just be themselves. They give themselves permission to be and not be perfect. And then the hermit, the 2, is that they want to be left alone. Like, I love my alone time. I'm sitting here talking to you, but really I'm talking to myself, because I know I've went over these times when I told you. Well, shout out to my brother for this beautiful ring, y'all. Y'all know I love opals, and that was my gift this year from him. So thank you to my brother. This person here, I've drawn a blank now what I was saying, but that hermit person just wants to be by themselves. Dang it. They like talking to themselves. And that was my reading style, is that I wasn't comfortable talking to you on live. I couldn't keep up with channeling the message and reading the comments. I don't want to say I'm any less of a reader. It's just too much for me. I get overstimulated. One of the animals that I'm like terrified of is the lizard. I'm not too into the cold-hearted reptiles, but And I say that, and my spirit animal is a snake. So you see the oxymoron here. I can't help it, but the resemblance is there, and the hypersensitivity is something that I resonate with. I get overstimulated, so I don't like to do two things at once. I just like to be, and so being and entertaining is too much. It's like running a circus. It's too much. I can't be the performer and the ticket master, you know. I can't be and the operator behind the scenes, making sure the set stays still. I can't do it all. So, and I don't want to do it all. I like partnership. I like the community. I like bringing it back to the bigger picture, the circle of life. Wow, a lot to say on that. High priestess energy here. That's your heart space. Let's get into the influence of why this is all happening today. What is all of this about, Melanie? Like, get to it. Make it clear for me. Most High. What can we say this is all for? Why did this all happen to us? From nothing to something. There's an in-between there, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna come out. There's an in-between from nothing to something. What's in between nothing to something, Most High? To becoming healed. The overall energy of that. The Seven of Swords reversed. So remember a time when you weren't healed, okay? I hate to hold you accountable, but I gotta do it to myself too. Remember that time you just sucked at life, and that was nobody else's fault but your own. Like, you were taught, if you're being fair to yourself, you were taught otherwise, and sometimes you just wanted to do something that you knew you weren't supposed to do. You wanted to be something you knew you probably shouldn't, but YOLO. This is YOLO. And so in this age of Aquarius, as you release yourself from the bonds of your own ages, you can do this by remembering 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, no matter where you are in time and space, because it's all an illusion, to become so aware of the individual self and the grand scheme of all things. Here you are. Remember that time. Nobody else has to know. Like, I used to think, well, you have to profess, you have to condemn, you know, back when I wanted my parents to condemn one another for this shit show that I thought we had going on. It was so unfair to point out another's mistakes. It was only for you to extend compassion and saying it's okay. Even if there was something that you did wrong, it's okay. It's been the biggest connectivity of my relationship with my twin flame, is that no matter how much he's done wrong, in my eyes, he's also forgiven. And that forgiveness came from just seeing where I was forgiven as a child, my mom, my dad. One thing I would always do is mess up my car. I had a beautiful car. When I was 16, my dad bought us a Mercedes. I have a twin. And we shared it for a little while, and she got her Celica. And then after she got her Celica, it was my car, it was my responsibility. And I was known for hitting all the stationary shit possible. I backed up into 2 yellow poles. I hit mailboxes. Yeah. And so remember the things that you did wrong and you were just forgiven for. Like, it was nothing. I'd come home and my dad would look. I wouldn't even be telling my dad, but of course he would go outside in the lawn and he'd be working on something, maybe his car or my mom's car. And then he looks over at my car and he's like, Mel, you hit something? And I'd say, oh yeah, Dad, I hit a yellow pole. And to me, it was nothing at the time. I remember the last time was at a hair store, and I had this one friend, she probably rolled her eyes, gave me the evil eye every time, because I had this way of, oh yeah, my dad's gonna fix it. Yeah, no problem, no problem, no problem. So I took it and I drove it back home, and I sat it in the driveway, and he was like, I'm not fixing it this time. And I was surprised, but I gave him no pushback. I was just like, okay, Daddy, you know, that's fine. He said, you're just gonna have to drive it like that. And he said it with such aggression that you would think that he was mad, but he was more so disappointed that I would never learn the lesson unless it came out of my own pocket, unless it came out of my own need to repair what I had damaged. So my mom always says he was the one person who could be the only person to tell you about yourself, because I couldn't do it. And if I'm being fair, because we're acknowledging the star in reverse, it's very true. I was a daddy's girl, and I could do no wrong. It wasn't as personal. It was his outer world, and he could always fix everything outside of himself, but fixing things inside yourself and forgiving yourself for coming up short is a lot more offensive, family. So remember that when you're discovering your inner and outer worlds, because we're going back to this High Priestess card here. Oops, ooh, we're getting all over the place. High Priestess. So right, white and black, Melanie. Michael Jackson, black or white. And Kanye West, those songs came through. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Shout out to that Jamie Foxx special too. I watched that, the 2023. It was so good. Although I'm not religious, as you know, it was a very good special. Respect. I don't know why, but all of this is relevant, and if you feel called to watch it, watch it. It may do something for you. So this star here, I'm just saying, as you discover your inner world and your outer world, those are the angles of this black and white, the known and unknown. You don't really know things until you're operating outside of yourself, that when that outer world is challenging you, it is a sense of your inner reflection that needs to be addressed. There's like a small little glimmer in the mirror that you didn't see because you were so busy working with what you were so sure of. I don't know if people are gonna get what I'm saying there. I don't know, and I do care, but no pressure, because it's all very personal. So when it's time for you to know, you'll know, and it'll be in the own privacy of your own home, which again would be your mind's home. And nobody needs to know. Nobody will know, unless you run out into the streets and feel the need to volunteer it. But at that time, trust me, if you're volunteering your shit, it means that you can't hold it in and you're in a massive explosion. Which, no judgment, I've been there too. I think we discussed in one of these readings that I was like, oh no. So what we're actually displaying is where we are coming up short. And so that makes you just kind of want to tuck back and sit back in your seat. It's like being loud and wrong, like standing up and saying something and you feel so confident about it, but you're actually wrong. So you quietly sit back down and hope that nobody looks for you in your seat. Turns out I don't want to be the star of the show. I just want to play my own part. Okay, so let's go to the present. Here is our presence. Right here in our presence. We just walked through the holiday, and if you celebrate it, this is the gift. The true gift is the card that's coming out right here. The word that we're about to discuss. This is the true gift. But although the other gifts are good too. Thank you to my brother. They all joke about me now. They're like, my brother-in-law's like, oh, even though you're Jehovah's Witness, happy Hello, Merry Christmas. Yeah, I don't even like to say it because I don't celebrate holy days, but I do celebrate personal days. Oh my. Things are hidden. The gift is what's hidden. Wow. The gift remains hidden. Oh, I do know that because I was saying, wow, it's not treasure if everyone can find it. And that's the mechanics of this Messiah. If everyone's following it and we're still not getting anywhere, is it really gifted? Is it really a gift? No shade, right? There's no shade. There is shade, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of shade. It's hidden. There's shade, right? So until each individual sees their own light, we're still gonna remain half seen, half unseen. And that's the contrast of our becoming. Again, this card here, it's just something I know, you know, like it's going to take the merging of the hidden and unhidden, the hidden and not ended, the awareness and things that you're unaware of, those things constantly coming, pushing and pulling to become whole. And that is the true gift. So the gifts are still something that you're unaware of. Things that you're still working to discover about yourself. That's the greatest gift. Every day work to find that thing, because every day you're perfecting yourself is the best day, is the present day that you were given the gift in self-discovery. Sometimes it gets rough. It's rough out here in these streets because there's a lot to take into account as you're discovering yourself. It gets heavy, family. The density is what makes you human, though. The density is what's grounding you in this reality, because if you were as light as a feather, if you were a true 9-ether being, you would already be completing your cycle. You know, you'd already say, yeah, we're good. And remember when I said, we're not working on ourselves anymore, I completely lied. Not intentionally, but I can renege, a mistake, misspoke. We're always working on ourselves. That if you're here, believe me, there's something that you have yet to discover, and that's your greatest gift. So that falls in our present position. Present is our presence. Check the play on the word there, and that's it. Let's see what's going through the future. What's coming up in the future here? What's coming up in the future? I cannot wait to be in my highest timeline. Like, I thought, again, family, I did project, but that was just my awareness. But you still have to put together with an action and word so that you can be, and we're still getting to that, bringing that piece of our puzzle to the grand scheme, the bigger picture, the new world. We're all working at it. We're chipping at this thing. It's an ongoing cycle. I think it's going to be very huge in the spring equinox, when we celebrate the new year, not the winter solstice, but the spring equinox, when everything comes back to life and we actually celebrate the new year. Again, no shade if you celebrate New Year's. Have fun. I'm waiting on the winter solstice. I have very personal relations to why that is my personal senses of achievement. If I was celebrating the holy days, I would have to say that my days were shitty circumstantially, but thankfully I'm very into my internal world and my own moon cycle, and I do honor the 13 months instead of the 12 months, that I will be ready to celebrate, I think, a lot more and a lot in my bag in spring. What's going on for the future presentation for us, Most High? What does the future hold for us? What does the future hold for us, Most High? So the Eight of Wands in reverse. And I was going to talk about this, but I was going to wait until the card. I wanted to see what else came under the card. This was our underneath that energy, so I'm going to take that and put it back. And then here is what's underneath the card, underneath that. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So these aren't great cards to have as a future representation, but let me explain why. I was having a conversation. I was shedding and purging some emotions that I had just this year, towards the end of the year, as I was being approached by my outer world, addressing my internal world. And those are through judgments and observations that come with fairness. They're all fairness, right? They're all out of love, is what I'm saying. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt any less. So I was sitting at the table and I had some uncomfortable conversations about why I was going to proceed in ways that may still seem to go against the grain, or for other people not to understand, right? And so that's what I'm saying to these 9 ether beings. A lot of people are still going to push up against you. They're still going to wait for your final days. And I don't know if I want to say final days, but that's the 9 ether being, as a completion. We did talk about the merging of timelines and how we are merging the ethers into being, the land into the being. It's going to be a totally new, different world, and I'm still at a pause as to how is this going to be, because my body itself is really going through a metamorphosis. I needed to get some procedures done, and my body isn't going to feel the same, look the same. And these weren't volunteering procedures, okay? I did not volunteer myself for these, but I got them as a result. And so there's still things that aren't going to be apparent to other people, and you're still going to, I feel like the difference now, because it's right underneath this High Priestess, is that you may be going backwards in some senses, but because you know something that other people don't know, you're just going to find compassionate ways of accepting that they will be the contrast that is necessary in order for you to choose yourself. So this will be not as easy for you to ground. Doesn't mean when you see it under the ground like this, doesn't mean it's not going to be like this. It just means at this point, due to this, it's a dream that only you know. You're going to get that dream. What's the advice? So I said that because I was purging, and as I was purging, I had that same conversation. You know when you're like, you deal with someone and you didn't like the way they dealt with you at that time, but your body received it, digested it, and then wanted to go at it again when it felt open to its response. How would I respond if I was looking outside of myself? Because in that time, I was the person that was being attacked. Again, not intentionally, right? I don't like victim mentality, so I would say a lot of these judgments were based off of, from a place of love and concern. But once they left and I entered that same space where it happened, so this is like arriving at the scene of the crime and being that person to discuss everyone in the room, only everyone that you're trying to discuss is not there. It's just you discussing them like they weren't there. So this is, a lot of this comes out in mirror work. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know. If not, it's just hard for me to say at this time for a lot of people to understand, which means maybe you just weren't meant to. But it's like talking to someone and talking to something that was unresolved in your angle, but in theirs, they got off their chest what they wanted, and they didn't care how you received or felt at that time. It was what they needed. Whereas you took it in. You're the mother energy. You took it in for love. No matter what it felt like, you chose to look at and feel it with love. And so you cried about it to the Most High, and you said to the Most High, they didn't know what I saw. They don't know how I feel. They don't know what I'm going through. They're looking at it from one angle. And so this is what a lot of 9 ether beings struggle with, is people looking at them from their point of view, and they don't have the ability, like most empaths, to see a point of view, a person's point of view, from theirs and not from their individual eye. That's the difference between a Mason and a 9 ether being, a spiritual being. A Mason is so dense, is so grounded, everyone must be following one way. And if they didn't follow that one way, it's their fault why their life is the way it is. No, like, they don't expect you to come and discover anything new. They're only looking to master it. But we've already discovered that we are not living to be perfect. We are living to forgive, accept, and become aware. And that's what the 9 ether being understands. Okay. Alright, so let's get into our advice so we can wrap this reading up. It's been an hour out here channeling with you, and I have gotten so much sun, and I forced myself to do this with this in mind, that I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read. And I haven't posted or been on this channel in forever, haven't wanted to. So as soon as I post this, I'm probably gonna log off of it and stay off of it again. I felt like I wanted to pull myself back from the scenes of those I was connected to. Again, no shade. I wanted to. And so I did. What are we being advised at this time, Most High? What are we being advised? What are we being advised? What is a 9 ether being advised to do at this time? If you've ordered from my Etsy, I'm sorry, I had a hard time getting on it. I'm trying to get away from using a number that I've used before, and I just want a new number, so I'm not on my Etsy account at this time. So sorry. I'm actually not doing any personal readings either. I'm going to go through this metamorphosis for 9 months and come out on the other side ready to just be. So that's could be the advice, but let's see. That's just my advice to myself. Let's see if the Most High agrees. What are they wanting us to choose at this time? Advice. Advice, Most High. You haven't seen me shuffle this whole time, but I promise you it's been me shuffling this whole time. These are the cards I'm using, just traditional. They're the newest cards that I bought with Mars. We bought them together. These are actually the only decks that we have. The Dreamscape and the Oracle. So our advice is something that we're indecisive about. It's been a dream that we've lost, and I think that you're rediscovering that you can still do that. And so stand still, stand firm, stand your ground. And I feel like that's the advice. I love you so much. Until the very next time I see you, take care of yourself. Choose better habits for yourself, because that's what I'm doing. I'm forgiving myself. I wanted to hold on to narratives. This is how I'm going to close this off. I've held on to one specific narrative that was the biggest hindrance to my mother energy, to my ascension. You can't be a 9 ether being and have trouble with women and your mother and your feminine aspects, right? Because women, God works through women, you know? And so the most challenging relationship in my experience has been my relationship with my mom. Just through the system and the program of hierarchy and how partnership has been. It was not something I wanted for myself. I wanted any partnership I'm in to be seen as an equal, not less or above the person I choose to create with. And that's why I believe in harmony amongst the land. I don't believe in patriarchy. I don't believe in a one-man world, because a man alone can't create. And we went through that with the chromosomes and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, with respect, harmony. And I've been given that opportunity to mend the relationship with my mother and to create a new story and feeling with her, and no longer carry that narrative within my heart and my sense of projection to say I don't get along with her. She's learning to love herself, as am I, as in any other woman that you see. And so I think at this time in our being, as we recognize how women have been demonized in most of the most prominent books and stories and tales amongst our land, that we not choose to beat them, and we forgive them for not loving themselves enough to know their worth, to stand on their worth, to even feel like sometimes they had to show us their worth through vengeance or revenge. And we forgive them, because I've been listening to another person, shout out to them. I won't put out any more readers because I just find this weird vibe after I do that. People doubt you as a reader because you're celebrating them. I went over that in the sacrifice reading, but I won't do that anymore. I will just say that I do follow this one person. I really love her accent. I love her reading style. And maybe we'll see each other on that world, in that age, in that timeline. And if we do, we're still connected. If not, then we're in 2 different times and spaces. I still love you. But I say that to say, she always says that she doesn't know a person who is not compassionate with themselves, who is nice to others. So if you're being compassionate with yourself, you're nice to others. But if you're being mean to yourself, that's the reason why you may show up in a very aggressive manner. And so recognize that as you connect with women. And if they are showing a little bit more assertiveness or aggression, just say, hey, it's okay. It's okay. You're good enough. Until they can hold that reflection and say it, not in a boastful way, not in a, but in a relaxed way. In a way where they could ignite another woman and not feel like they're in competition or of offense to them, or feeling like they may have missed out on an opportunity for who they could be as a result of seeing them. Let's connect the women on this land. Talked about that in the last reading too, but I love you. Until next time, take care of yourself. Bye.